Hello, my name is Olivia Flathammer, and I'm happy to kick off InVision, a monthly podcast hosted by the Vision Center, Leadership for Development for Aging Services. Vision Center partners with universities, senior care, and aging services providers to support associations and business partners to advance the field of senior living leadership and students nationwide. I'm passionate about senior living leadership, and I'm excited to work with the Vision Center as an intern to further my knowledge in the field. I'm pursuing a bachelor's in healthcare administration with a minor in gerontology at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. This podcast will provide regular inspiration and guidance to students interested in pursuing a career in senior living leadership, especially those working to become a licensed nursing home administrator or healthcare executive. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Seth Rubin. Seth is a senior at George Washington University with a major in business, concentration in marketing, and a minor in psychology. Together, we will explore what it takes to navigate the steps to become an administrator. So, Seth, what interested you in working in the senior living industry? And give us a little bio of who you are and how you found it.
Of course. First off, Olivia, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm thrilled to be able to be a part of this discussion, and I look forward to answering your questions. So, the reason I got into this field was in high school, I worked at Best Friends Daycare Center in Nicholasville, Kentucky. So, this is a memory care daycare center where loved ones and caregivers can dropped off drop off their family member for the day to sort of get a break from the hardships of caregiving, and also give their loved one like an opportunity to um, have like social interaction and just like change things up. So I worked at this memory care center, and I just absolutely loved it. And the woman who created it, her name was Virginia Bell. She created this best friends approach. And ever since high school, I really stood by this best friends approach. And what that is when you're working with residents with dementia, you treat them as your best friend because they're not a patient. There's nothing genuinely wrong with them. They're dealing with dementia, but they're still human like me and you. And so this best friends approach has proven to be successful over the years. And so to be a part of this team, I was just so inspired. And it was really cool being a volunteer there. And I actually tried the best friends approach with my friend's grandmother, who was in a nursing home in Lexington, Kentucky. And so we went to visit her, and he was like so worried about talking to his grandma because she had dementia and it had gotten a lot worse. And I said, Chase, it's going to be okay. What we're going to do the whole time is we're going to treat her like our best friend, and we're going to smile the whole time. And with those two things, now we might have looked like dorks smiling the entire time when we visited with her, but I'll tell you what, forcefully smiling made all the difference in the world. And the feedback and the joy that this brought my friend and his grandmother just made me realize like this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This field is so rewarding, and to see the ease and tension that it brought his grandmother, she had so much tension, her emotions were heightened. And so to see, the joy that just smiling the entire time brought her, it made it so much easier on her. And so I bring this to work with me every day. I work at Silverado Memory Care in Alexandria, Virginia. And ever since high school and those interactions with his grandmother and at that daycare center, I've realized that this is the field for me because, to care for those who once cared for us is like life's honestly our the best gift we're given in life is to care for those who once cared for us. And so that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I love senior living.
I love that. So, what specifically in your career beyond the best friends approach has stuck with you?
So in my career, the thing that's stuck with me the most is just how much I can learn from the residents at wherever I'm working at that time. You know, Not just like life experience, but I can learn a lot about myself. I'm obviously there to care for them, but I'm also there to treat them like a human and to treat them like with the respect and dignity that they deserve. So when they share all of this, all these stories, it's so cool because I can think to myself, like, oh, I used to do that, or I used to do this, or that's really cool. I should try doing that in my lifetime. And I don't think people realize just how much wealth, how much wisdom, and the wealth of knowledge that older people carry. And so it's amazing. I know I kind of veered off from your question, but it's amazing to go in every day, not only to carry the best friends approach, but to learn from all these people. Most jobs I've worked in high school, like besides the daycare center, I didn't really get that like fulfillment when I left work. Whereas when I'm, in the CCRC or at the memory care center, when I leave work, I'm like, oh, not only did I learn about a lot about like senior living, but I learned a lot about life. And I think it's really cool to like go home from work and be like, oh, I learned a lot about life today. And like, I don't know, it's very cool.
Yeah. Having people enter the senior living field as young adults just helps them realize their passion for it. So, what do you think high school and college age people could do to be informed about senior living as a career if they don't get exposed to these work experiences like you did?
Olivia, I think that's a great question. I've been trying to figure out the answer to that for a long time now. And honestly, my biggest advice to people our age around the country is try to implement programs at your old high school or even at your college, maybe a club, or just get some of your friends to go do community service at a local nursing home. Go volunteer at a memory care daycare center. Do those things because when those people that you bring to the nursing home to volunteer with you go back to their other friends and share those experiences, it spreads like wildfire, and people realize that they need to fill that part of their life that they might not be filling. And so I think, where we can start with, spreading awareness and bringing attention to this field is it starts from a young age. And so, we need to tell our younger siblings, like, you need to start a club at high school and tell your friends about this now. And, teaching that, because, in high school, you have finance club, maybe you have like all these clubs that are already in place. And so when people go to college, they're like, oh, I'm going to be a financial advisor because in high school, their friend's dad, who was a financial advisor, came and spoke to the class. Well, what we can do is we can get our young population to go and get people in this field to come speak in high school to the classrooms. So maybe a couple kids, when they graduate, they go into university as a freshman and they're like, oh, I want to do senior living because Olivia came to speak to my class and it was really cool and it inspired me. And so I think that's what we need to do. We need to start at a younger age by bringing senior living into the lives of the young population.
Yes, I completely agree. Beyond just students being exposed, what would we want someone who has no idea about senior living to know about the industry?
I think that's a good question as well. Where I would go with that is we need to tell them those stories because people have this like stigma around aging that's pretty negative usually. And I wish I could show you the back of my computer right now, but it says old people are cool is the hashtag on the back of my computer because we have this stigma that like when you get older, it's so hard and you're lonely and all this stuff. But if we tell the people that don't know about senior living, like just all of these impactful stories that we've heard, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know that about older people. Like, I thought older people, they'll be like, oh, I thought older people were this, this, and this. Well, in reality, older people are just like us, except they have more wisdom and more experience. So I think that's the way to go about it is tell the stories.
Perfect. Yes, I completely agree. So what drives you and what are the most important values in senior living, in your opinion?
Of course. Well, the most important value in senior living is integrity because when we're working with the residents, we can't be treating them like innocent kids in middle school or in lower school. Like we can't treat them like we're parents hiding a secret from our kids. We have to be upfront with them about their health. We have to be honest with them. And, if we carry integrity into senior living, then the people we're caring for will gain trust in us back. And in turn, that will make our jobs easier because having bridging that gap and adding trust between you and the residents is everything in senior living. And then what was the other part of your question? I think there was a
What drives you
oh
to
yeah,
like stay in the senior living field?
of course. So the thing that drives me the most is when I go to work and there's a resident who is dealing with dementia who says to me, I'll ask them, like, what are you doing today? And they might say, oh, well, there's not much to do around here. And my initial reaction to that is in my head, I have this like fire that lights inside me. And it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be because I want somebody to walk up to that resident and the answer to the question that I asked be, oh, well, today I did knitting club and also I hung out with some of my friends and we listened to some music. And so my goal, the thing that keeps me driven in this field is like, I want to change the game. Like wherever people aren't engaged, I want to get them engaged because just because they're living in a nursing home doesn't mean their life ends there. If anything, we should just be trying to enrich their lives even more and make them just even more excited about where they are now. So it's those people and the negative feedback that keeps me going because I want to create as much of a positive atmosphere for the people I'm working for. So yeah.
Awesome. My last question for you is where do you see the future of senior living going?
So first of all, I just recently read an article in the New York Times just about it was about like I guess they call them boomers. I don't really use that term, but I guess it is correct because the baby boomers. But all the boomers are aging, and so senior living is just getting bigger and bigger. And so where I see this going is there's going to be a lot more nursing homes and a lot more older people, but that doesn't mean that the quality of care will be good. So it's our job to ensure that we bring a lot of young people into this field now and we get on it now. So as there's more older people um, in nursing homes and stuff like that, we get ahead of the game and we're ready to provide the best care possible. And I also think that technology, AI is going into every field, and I'm doing my best to read up on how AI is going to impact senior living every day because I love ChatGPT. You can ask any of my friends. I use it every day. I don't know if my roommate's here right now, but he's probably laughing hearing me say this because he hasn't really hopped on the AI train, but I use ChatGPT for everything. And because we have to realize that, technology is the future. And so it's going to be in senior living. So learning how to use AI and learning how technology is changing in senior living is extremely important because that's where this field is headed.
Awesome. I completely agree. I feel like just, having that inclusion of all of the advancements incorporated into the senior living field is going to be amazing for us. So once again, thank you so much, Seth, for doing this and speaking about your experiences in senior living. Any last words of wisdom you want to send out?
I don't have any last words of wisdom, and they might get mad at me for doing this, but I was wondering if I could ask you what inspires you to be in this field, and if we could end on that note, because I appreciate you spending the time with me, and I just wanted to ask you what inspires you to keep going in this field.
Of course. I took an interesting route. I was not exposed to senior living throughout my high school years. I came into college. I found the healthcare administration program at UWEC, and I was intrigued by it. And I actually joined the program before being exposed to senior living in its full capacity. But the more that I've become involved through different clubs, different volunteer opportunities, and different career things that I've been involved in, I have just stuck with it. So
That's
it's
awesome.
drug me in, it's kept me in, and I'm super excited to see where everything goes from here.
That's so exciting. Well, you're doing great work with this podcast, and I appreciate you having me on. And to anybody watching, choose senior living because you might not think it's for you, but it's for everyone.
Yep,
So yeah,
everyone should get some experience in it, and those are our last words of wisdom on this month's
I
InVision
agree.
podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.